Hi, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for attending this live event titled Artful Possibilities. We are celebrating National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and today we are highlighting the Progressive Art Studio Collective in Wayne County in Detroit. My name is Kristen Blanchard. I am a vocational rehabilitation counselor here in Livonia. And also on the call and help facilitating is Tyler Gross, who is running our tech today, Bethany and Katie, who are both doing ASL for us, Blake McGee, who will be running the chat portion of this event. But before we get started, I just have a few housekeeping rules to go over. We will be taking questions at the very end of our presentation. So if you want to drop those questions in the chat during the presentation, that would be great. And then at the end, we will go over any questions that you have for Anthony. We also have closed captions that are available at the bottom of the Zoom screen, the CC button, or by clicking the link in the Zoom question and answer feature. So that is available for everybody participating. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our presenter for the day. Anthony Marcinelli is an educator, he's a curator, he's a writer and an artist. He has produced exhibitions, lectures, public cultural events, and projects with a focus on social practice, public art, and disabilities in cultural venues and universities across the world. For over 9 years, he has taught studio art, theory, and art and design history at colleges and universities in the United States and Europe. From 2018 to 2020, he was the programs and exhibition manager of the Friendship Circle Soul Studio, a studio for adults with disabilities in West Bloomfield, Michigan. At Soul Studio, he expanded the studio program and worked to align the studio in the history and ideology of progressive art studios and disability culture. In 2021, Anthony developed and launched the Progressive Art Studio Collective, where he is the program manager. PASC is the first progressive art and design studio in Detroit and Wayne County dedicated to supporting adults with developmental disabilities and mental health needs to advance independent artistic practices and individual career paths in art and design fields. PASC is a program of the Disability Services Organization, Services to Enhance Potential, what we call STEP. Anthony received his MFA in 2009 from California College of Arts with a concentration in social practice. So, Anthony, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are looking forward to everything you have to share, what your organization is doing, and what you're planning for the future. So, feel free to get started whenever you are ready.
I'm ready. Thanks, Kristen. Hi, everybody. So, I'm Anthony Marcellini. I am a mid-40s male with kind of lightish skin, big dark glasses, and I'm wearing a checkered kind of blue, red, and white shirt right now. So I'm going to be talking about the Progressive Art Studio Collective today and emphasizing how we develop careers for adults with disabilities that we work with, professional art careers. So I'm going to launch into sharing my screen. And I don't think Kristen said this, but maybe she did, but we'll have a question and answer period at the end of this presentation. So if you could just hold your questions to the end, that would be fantastic. All right, here we go. Okay, so Kristen kind of gave already a little bit of a preamble here about the Progressive Art Studio Collective and STEP. So I'm not going to dwell on this page, but I'll just kind of launch into talking about the program and a little bit of the history. So PASC is, as you've heard, is a progressive art studio. And that is a term that studios kind of use that are sometimes known as supported art studios or disability art studios, basically art programs that align with an ideology aimed at supporting adults with disabilities, mostly developmental disabilities and or mental health differences, to build professional art careers. Our program is part of an informal network of like-minded studios across the US and globally who share with us this ideology of advancing careers for disabled artists in the contemporary art world. We meet actually quarterly with a group of other studios across the US to discuss concerns, advancement, and advocacy around art and disabilities. Here's a very long list of over 60 or so studios across the US that run kind of similar program to us. So I'm going to give a short history of kind of progressive art studios to give you a sense of the background. So most of the kind of early progressive art studios started in around the 1970s and then continued opening throughout the 80s and later years during a period loosely termed deinstitutionalization, when adults with disabilities were leaving psychiatric institutions and other kinds of institutions and finding jobs out in the community. And progressive art studios were launched as kind of alternatives to other kinds of work, like factory work or sheltered workshops. They were heavily kind of influenced, or their formation was heavily influenced by a movement loosely called sort of outlier or outsider art that emerged during the 60s and 70s, where basically a lot of self-taught artists were starting to be embraced in the art world. And there, at the same time, was also an art market for that work. A lot of studios saw this happening and were very encouraged by the success and embrace of outlier artists or self-taught artists, and thought this would be a great thing for us to engage with because we have so many people who are making incredible artwork in our centers. And here's a picture of, on the right, of Gateway Arts, one of the earliest progressive art studios in Boston, Massachusetts. And so they set up kind of open studio environments that really encouraged disabled adults to follow self-taught practices amidst a community of like-minded peers to build unique art practices. On the right, there's a picture that may be a little hard to see of Creative Growth in Oakland, California, very important studio that launched in '74. So these art centers really based their understanding on how to achieve professional art careers by looking to artists and the art world as references. Programs hire a staff of professional artists to provide individualized attention and empower studio artists to realize their artistic potential with a focus on supporting their individual interests and unique talents. And because all artists need a gallery to represent them and help them sell their artwork, studios either have their own on-site gallery space or work with outside organizations to present exhibitions of studio artists' artwork, sometimes alongside other professional artists. And on the right here is a picture of a summertime gallery and studio in Brooklyn, New York, that kind of swapped between running their studio out of their gallery space and running exhibitions in their gallery space. So PASC, our program, is also very much based on this model of professional artist practice to develop professional art careers. So sometimes you can move the screen on the right to see Nicholas Grant here, but it may be kind of hard. Anyway, you can see kind of his work peeking out there. So what is an art career? An artist creates artworks in a studio in their own unique original style. Those two things are really important, unique and original. That's what creates a market for them. The gallery then works with the artist to help to promote, display, and sell their artworks. The gallery makes connections to sell the artwork to art collectors and collections like museums or personal collections. And sometimes the gallery creates multiples of the artwork, such as bags, prints, or cards, as other ways to get the work out to the public and to increase sales. And unlike in certain countries in Europe, an art career is unfortunately not salaried. It's not a salaried job, right? So you're not getting an hourly wage or even a daily wage necessarily. So artists are paid by the sale of each piece. I'm sure everybody knows all of this, but I thought it would be important to just clarify this when we're talking about jobs here, because it's an unusual job in that sense. So now I'm going to jump into our studio specifically. So these are some images of our artist studios. On the top, it is our Westland studio. The bottom is our Detroit studio. We run 3 large open art studios in Detroit, Westland, and Southgate, supporting about 170 and more actually artists. Each artist has a scheduled day or days that they attend the studio, from 1 to 5 days a week, really based on their availability. The studios are equipped with professional art equipment and art materials, so PASC artists are able to create high quality artworks with high quality materials. Many artists have their own kind of dedicated spaces where they work. Some work at communal tables. The community actually aspect of the studio is very important as well. Working together with peers helps influence their work. Art materials are informed by each artist's practice. Some work in 2D forms like acrylic, watercolor, drawing, mixed media, others in sculpture. And we're looking at sort of bringing in future materials like quilting and weaving as well. Each artist really creates best when they're self-directed, and that way they feel confident in their way of working, and that way of working is trusted and supported and celebrated. So we place trust in each artist to really create independently whatever and however they want. It builds their confidence and their unique artistic identity, which is really key for people to understand the kind of artist that they are and understand their work when they see it, right? On the right here is a guy named Ronald Griggs, and you can probably see a little bit of his artwork here, kind of peeking around the corner. He makes pretty wild artwork, lots of different images, but it's pretty far out there as far as the artwork in our studio goes. And we just let him go, do whatever he wants. He's also been a very successful artist in our studio, sold a lot of work. We hire professional artists who serve as basically kind of like artist assistants in the studio, assisting the studio artists with their artwork. We call them art advisors. They're not teachers, really, although sometimes they do provide some examples of how to do certain things from their own experience. All artists need assistance. A lot of professional artists, usually very large scale professional artists, have assistants that work with them in their studio and help them create their artwork. Our staff are not helping to create it, and if they don't put hands on the artwork that our studio artists are making, but they help them kind of with choices about material use or even composition and things like that, really until the artist gets to a point where they are doing all of that themselves. And a lot of it is really a lot of positivity, particularly early on. There's a lot of positive encouragement happening in the studio, again, to really just help boost that self-confidence so that the artist can be a super confident artist who's making their own decisions. We have about 7 professional artists that work with us, plus 3 sort of dedicated skills trainers or kind of DSPs who support in the studio. And we try to keep it to around a kind of 1 to 9 staff to participant ratio. On the right here is a picture of Hannah Lilly with Stanley Brown and Daron Hudson, 2 of our artists working in our Southgate studio. We do professional exhibitions, right? So every artist needs exhibition shows, ways to present their work to the public. So we provide exhibition opportunities to our artists to really show their work to the public and help them generate sales. Exhibitions also help to define an artist's sense of themselves, sense of their self-purpose. So participants in PASC really self-identify as artists. This is their job. When you ask them, what's your job? They'll say, I'm an artist. That's what I do. And all our artworks are professionally framed and priced at professional gallery prices. And the artworks prices will increase as an artist's career grows. So we'll want to make sure that their artwork, which may start out at pretty affordable prices, starts to increase as more and more sales are happening. We sort of look at that over each year, kind of thinking about, does this work need to raise in order to really support the attention that the artist is getting. Artworks are available for purchase at our physical gallery space and also online at our website. And our artists exhibit their artworks in professionally curated exhibitions. So we will hire local curators and national curators to curate our shows. Sometimes those shows are curated by our staff and also sometimes by the PASC artists as well. When we work with external curators, we do that in order for them to kind of bring their audience and their perspective to PASC and really help then channel the artwork that's being produced in our studio out to a different public than we would normally access. This is Alcendo Owens on the right, showing his artwork to a public at our exhibition space, one of our pop-up exhibition spaces that we ran last year on Gratiot in kind of the Eastern Market area. And we currently have one dedicated exhibition space in Southgate at our studio there, where I am currently. And we also participate in a lot of local and national exhibitions. So since October of 2022, we've had 10 local exhibitions and 4 external exhibitions in Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Chicago, and also Richmond, California. On the right here, you can see some of our artists' work is actually shown in a group show with other artists from the Detroit area, about 130 other artists at a gallery space called Reyes Finn, which is unfortunately just closed. But this was a really incredible show for us to be kind of in this massive group show, to have our artists representing alongside really important artists from the Detroit art scene. In May, PASC launched our second pop-up gallery, PASC at the Belt, which is a partnership with a local gallery space called Library Street Collective and a local kind of outdoor bar called The Skip. It's this gallery space you can kind of see in this picture right here. Which is kind of a garage style space, open to the public, open to this alleyway, where there is this kind of open bar called The Skip. And then I'll talk a little more. And it's a really interesting alleyway called the Belt Alleyway, which is defined as a sort of culturally redefined sort of semi-public space filled with really a rotating selection of public artworks, which is very cool. So because it's an arts destination, our gallery is a place that a lot of people will sort of walk by and see. It also has these kind of big glass doors. So even when it's not physically open, you can see through the windows and see all of the artworks that are on display. It's also across the street from 2 quite well-known commercial galleries called Library Street Collective and Louis Buell. On the right here is an image of an exhibition called The Sympathetic Relationship of Things, which is actually currently up at the PASC at the Belt Gallery. And the hours for the gallery, I should mention, are Fridays and Saturdays from 3 till about 6 p.m. And because, again, it's this destination for locals and tourists, a lot of people like to take sort of wedding photos and selfies and things like that in the alley, because there's a lot of just beautiful kind of scenery and artwork everywhere. It's really increased the audience that has come to view our work, and really then also increased their understanding of what PASC is and also what STEP does. And also helped increase sales. So we've looked at anywhere from like 20 to sometimes 100 people visiting a day, which has been pretty incredible. So just some sales figures for this year. We've surpassed about $27,000 since our fiscal year last year, which started in October 2022. And again, think about 60% of that money actually goes back to the artists to support them and support their art practice. On the right here is an image of every portrait is a portrait of the artist, an exhibition that we ran there in the Belt Gallery from July through August of this year. We do a lot of art events and also sort of art fairs and things like that as well. So this past year, we've participated in the Detroit Art Book Fair in October last year. We're actually doing that again this weekend when that's open on Saturday and Sunday. If you want to come visit us down in Detroit, it's at Trinasos. That'd be cool. We did the Palmer Park Art Fair in June, the West Village Block Party in June as well, Midtown Art Fair in July, the Eastern Market After Dark event as well in September of this year. And again, all of these events just help to increase sales, increase the audiences that see our artists' artwork, and usually build kind of new opportunities oftentimes for our artists as well. Sometimes those artists come with us to these events. There's a picture on the right of me and PASC artist John Peterson speaking about his work to an audience at the Madison Heights Library for an exhibition that we did there also in June. June was busy. Here's an image of the PASC sort of online, our website basically. It's also an online store and a gallery. So all exhibiting PASC artists have their own web page on our website with a bio and a listing of artworks for sale. This is Promise Voss's page here on the right side, which is showing a couple of her artworks, some that have sold already. So also all our exhibitions are also located on the website with a press release and artworks that can be purchased online for any sort of out-of-state buyers. It's a great way for our work and our artists to be seen kind of more broadly across the US, the world, wherever anyone can access our website. You can also see on the right side here under Promise a small bio that we kind of work with the artist to write just about their artwork, their interests, general things like that. And then also usually we'll list the exhibitions that they've been in that PASC has supported. We also make some products in our gallery as well as another way to really promote PASC artists' artwork and really generate additional income. We produce products for all of our artists with artwork, and those may be everything from greeting cards to bags, to books, to socks, to mugs. The artist will either get a portion of the sale or will pay the artist an artist fee to reproduce their artwork, multiple times on products. Our galleries also have flat files, so you can kind of see, hopefully on the right here, this is one of our flat files. On top of it is a display of several of our products, and on the bottom is kind of one of the flat file drawers opened up with a number of artworks that we have for sale. So our artists, we have 170 artists. If you can imagine, there's, 20 of them in the studio and 3 studios each day. They may not all finish a piece in one day. Some of them actually finish, 8 to 10 pieces. So there's a lot of artwork being produced every single day. So this is another way, the flat file, for us to both store finished artworks, but also allow for people to buy artworks that may be at a slightly lower price because they've been unframed, and just other ways for that work to sell. So this is very exciting. In this sort of fall, winter, fingers crossed, we will be moving our Detroit studio into 1/3 of this building called the Lantern Building, which is a 10,000 square foot former bread factory in Southeast Detroit. It's a project of, again, this Library Street Collective Gallery, the owners of that gallery, Anthony and JJ Curris, who are really working carefully to transform several blocks of southeast area of Detroit, loosely termed East Village, into a kind of new arts district. On the right here, you can see on the top kind of the old, it looks a little different than this now, but the kind of condition of the building, and then what it's supposed to be becoming sort of on the bottom side there. That's a rendering by the OMA architectural firm who is designing the exterior of this. So we'll be moving into about 1/3 of this space. Here, a little bit blocked by the presenter screen, but is the kind of layout of our studio and gallery. On the top, we have a pretty large open gallery space, about 1,000 square feet. For that, that's going to be very beautiful. Big white walls will allow us to show a lot of artwork. And then the bottom, quite large studio space with sort of a kitchenette and a kind of cleanup area and things like that as well. So what's very exciting about this building is that we're sharing it with another kind of nonprofit, kind of what they call anchor tenant, called Signal Return, who's a printmaking collective. And we imagine we'll be doing kind of several kind of collaborative projects with them upcoming. There's also going to be a bar, a cafe, other kind of nonprofit and for-profit cultural institutions will be there as well. And the second floor of the building will also have some professional artist studios located on site. So in a way similar to the Belt Gallery, except our studio will be here as well. It's going to be an area that I think will be very much a destination for audiences to come to. They'll come there, be able to access a lot of different kind of cultural events at one time, including our gallery and our studio. We're working with sort of Detroit, LA-based architecture firm called Loha to produce the interior architecture. And on the right here, you can kind of see the current condition, a lot of work being done on the interior of the space. The studio is going to be pretty incredible. It's got these 30-foot high or 30-foot tall ceilings in the studio space. And you can see in this picture on the right, big wide open windows, bringing in a lot of natural light into the space. It's going to be really wonderful. And, you know, I think what's really exciting for us is that this is going to be the first permanent public studio and gallery in Detroit dedicated to artists with disabilities. So that's going to be really very incredible. And, you know, I think we're going to see this really help to boost engagement with the general public, increasing gallery sales, and really placing our studio and gallery amidst, again, this kind of destination neighborhood for art audiences. So program costs, we try to keep our costs low to non-existent for our artists, meaning that many of our artists, I would say definitely the majority pay with Medicaid service dollars, so as not to accrue any out-of-pocket costs. We do have some folks that private pay at around $30 a day, with sort of scholarship options available for that as well. All studio materials, staffing, space, and gallery representation are covered. And we work with grant organizations to increase grants for our program, for new initiatives and also scholarships, just to reduce overall costs and just build new opportunities for all our artists. So we've gotten a grant this year from Michigan Arts and Cultural Council. We got a grant from the NEA, which is awesome, and a matching grant for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, MEDC, along with individual fundraising to really support the build out of our lantern project, which is super, super fun. And I think with that, what I'm hoping to do is switch to my phone and take you out and meet some of the artists. Unfortunately, some of the artists had to leave a little early today because of some staffing for transportation. So there are still some folks in the studio. I'm going to switch to my phone and walk around and kind of show you at least what our Southgate studio looks like, which I think will be, you know, somewhat similar in look and appearance to what our Detroit studio will eventually look like as well. So we're going to try that now, and hopefully this doesn't go haywire. Fingers crossed.
Hi, Anthony. When you have a chance, cut on your microphone because we can't hear you.
Thank you for that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So this is our Southgate studio. People are getting ready for the end of the day and some are still working. So we're going to walk around and just kind of see what people are working on. And I'll show you some images of the artwork on the walls. You can see some individual areas where people are working on larger pieces. Willie right here is working on a new drawing. These are a lot of paintings that you can see are still wet from Duran, who just left. Big piece by Duran, he's almost finished here. A very big Pee-wee piece up on the wall here as well. So we do a lot of different work. That's Emily over there. And Autumn. What you working on, Autumn? Dots?
No,
Paint marker?
and watercolor.
Yep. Very good. Paint marker and watercolor. Thank you. And I'll take you now. These are some works that are going to be in a show. They're really big, so we just kept them on the wall. That are going to be in a show coming up at MoCAD, actually, the Museum of Contemporary Art in Detroit, that we're doing in December. And this is a ton of artwork that has not been put away because we don't have space for it right now, because we're doing a lot. And I'll walk to the front of the gallery here. Oh, I should show you these two pieces too, because these are great. Again, large pieces. More storage, more artwork. And this is our Southgate gallery right here. That's Renee walking by, one of our art advisors. So you can see this large open gallery space allows us to show a lot of artwork. We'll do exhibitions in here every couple of months. And I'll just kind of zoom in on a piece here. So you can see the label. This piece by actually Gail Sanford here. We have these QR codes on them so people can access the work when it is online and actually purchase it directly from the online website. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm going to switch back and walk back to the office and we can do some question and answers. All right, see how this works. Hi. Thanks for hanging with me while I did that.
Yes.
All right, I'm back in the office. I'm going to switch back to the computer.
Anthony, you're muted again.
Okay, there's the problem of switching. Thanks, everybody. That was a little faster than I thought it would be, but hopefully we have some questions. I was hoping for more of our artists to be in the studio, but you know, things happen.
Hi, Anthony. We do have several questions for you. We
Great.
can start off with the first question. The first question is, where is the Southgate location? Is it open to the public for people to visit?
Yes, it is open to the public for people to visit. The hours of our Southgate studio are 10 to 3 if you want to come and visit. It's located on the corner of Eureka and Dix Road in Southgate in the Southgate Shopping Center, right next door to Steps Thrift Shop as well. So you can also, you know, do double duty, come visit our studio and then go thrifting.
Awesome. The next question, Anthony, is, do artists bring their own materials or does the studio provide them?
Yes, the studio provides all the materials. We want to make sure that our artists are using very high quality materials, so we'll order all the materials for them. If an artist comes kind of new to the studio or with a type of material that they use that we don't have, we will get it for them. Or sometimes people discover some new material that they want to use in the studio. So again, that's just part of the process of kind of working with all the artists that we work with. It's quite a one-on-one process with everybody that we work with. So we really tailor the materials and you know, to their way of working, I'd say. So yeah, it's part of an ongoing dialogue, I'd say, with everybody that we support.
Thanks, Anthony. The next question is, if an MRS counselor has a client who's interested in creating art in PASC, what would be the best way to make that connection and to get the process started?
Yeah, so the best way is really to start with services to enhance potential, to start with them. So we work with probably two types of individuals here. There are people that come to us through STEP and then some that come to us directly. Usually the people that work with us directly are private pay clients, and the ones who come through STEP would be using Medicaid service dollars to help basically support their time in the studio. We'd like to be looking at maybe some partnerships with MRS or something like that in the future as well. And even basically if anybody's interested in coming here, we'll figure out a way to make it happen with them.
Great to hear, Anthony. The next question is prior art experience needed for new participants?
No, absolutely not. One of the artists whose artwork I passed by there, that was the big work with the circles. His name is Duran Hudson. He never made art before coming to our studio, but just was interested and wanted to try it out. We usually do trial days with almost anybody. It's really pretty individually driven. They choose what they want to do. So somebody can come and try out the studio program, and if they don't like it, they don't have to continue doing it. If they do like it but they have no prior art experience, we just really help them to experiment and try out new things and just kind of keep moving with it until they start to feel some comfort and kind of hit a through line. With Duran, it's been kind of real interest in sort of pattern, abstraction, but certainly pattern, kind of repeated shapes and symbols, but he likes to work really big. So we've eventually kind of moved to that model with him from starting out a bit smaller and kind of realized he has a lot of big gestures. And so that's where he is with his work now. He's sold a fair amount of work, and his work is pretty popular. We have another artist, Lewis Foster, who very similar situation, never made art before coming to work with us, but now is doing very, very well, kind of selling his work in a lot of different states. Actually, he's one of the artists who went and had some works in Texas in a show there. And 4 of his pieces were just bought for a collection in Boston. So yeah, that really doesn't matter. You just have to be excited, interested, and willing to try new stuff.
Excellent. The next question, an audience member wanted to convey to you that this has been a wonderful presentation that you've presented, and they would like to know, what are some ways people can support the studio?
Sure. There's a lot of ways. Some ways is, if you want to support us, financially, you can make a donation. There's information about that on our website, and you can make a financial donation. You can buy artwork for. That's actually one of the best things to do, is really buy some artist artwork, because it helps them build their career. You can also buy art materials for our studio through wish lists or donate materials. All of these things are possible. You can also just reach out to us and say, like, hey, I want to support. I'm not financially able, but these are some other things that I'd like to do. We're looking at potentially starting a volunteer program as well for some of our studios. So down the line, we hope that's something that we can get going, so that folks in the community who want to kind of volunteer and spend time in the studio, which is really pretty amazing. Actually, I think a lot of people want to just like come and be here because it's such a vibrant, wonderful space. So we're hoping to get that happening sometime down the line as well. But yeah, best thing to do, reach out, or if you want, you can just be an anonymous donor and just donate online. We are hoping when we open the Lantern building to start a membership program as well. We'll be doing a lot of exhibitions there, so members will, get a slight amount of a percentage off work, and as well get opportunities to come to sort of VIP openings and things like that to buy artwork ahead of other folks.
Okay, the next 2 questions are in regards of the location. So one question is the steps, is the PASC location near the step store? And the answer to that is yes. Is that right, Anthony? Okay.
The Southgate one is yes.
Okay.
We have the 2 other locations as well. We have the Westland location, which is inside of one of STEP's resource centers on Vinoy and Cherry Hill Road in Westland. And then our Detroit location is currently at Beaufait and Forest inside of one of STEP's resource centers, but that's the one that will be moving soon into the Lantern building. And that's at the corner of Kercheval and McClellan in the East Village neighborhood, and very close to Pewabic Pottery, if people are familiar with that on Jefferson.
Okay. And then once again, the just an inquiry about the Southgate location. Is it on Eureka and Dix? And I think it says something about Trenton Roads, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Dix turns into Trenton. So it's same thing. Yeah, Trenton Road. I'm not really from down here, so sorry. I think Dix turns into Trenton. But yeah, it's right where that turns into Trenton on Eureka. Southgate Shopping Center is really the kind of key for finding us.
Okay, we appreciate you, Anthony. We got one last question. It says, since PASC supplies all art materials, do the artists pay a fee on sold art?
We take a percentage, so they get 60% from the artwork that's sold, and we will take 40% that goes back into the studio, and that just covers materials, staffing, and overhead costs, basically. Rather than doing, say, 100% to the artist or 90% to the artist, most galleries operate at either a 50-50 model, 50 to the gallery, 50 to the artist. like in professional galleries, or sometimes a 60-40 where the artist will get 40 and the gallery will take 60. So we wanted to make sure that our ratio was somewhat similar to that. So in the event that an artist who's working with us, and artists can work in our studio for their entire lives or as long as we're around, or they could potentially work with us and then leave to pursue their own kind of independent practice, so that they are anyway familiar with the kind of model of a gallery, a pricing system of a gallery, so that if and when they do start working with an outside gallery, they're not alarmed when they are not getting 100% from the sale of their artwork. And I wanted to say something else about the and just in terms of locations, all this information is available on our website as well. Our addresses are there. There's some phone numbers there for you to contact. Some information on how to become a member of the studio, if that's something that you're interested in doing. And steps numbers are up on there also.
Anthony, I did have a question as well. Is there an age requirement to be in your facility? Sure.
No, well, it's an adult program, so 18 and over, yes. There is an age requirement in terms of that. We are looking at starting some teen programs on Saturdays in the Southgate location and the Detroit location. So if anyone is interested in that, they can, again, contact us through the website, and we can start to put together kind of a list of people who might be interested in doing that before we launch that program, just making sure that there's some interest before we launch into that. But yeah, at the moment, the program is 18 and over. I would say our artists' kind of median age is probably somewhere around like 35 for most of the folks that we're working with. We do have some artists who are, 18, 19, and some artists who are in their 60s and 70s. So there's a very wide range of individuals that we support, and their cultural backgrounds are all different. So.
Okay, one more question. How long can somebody work with PASC? Is there a certain amount of time?
Yeah, there's no limit. They can work with us as long as they want, as long as they're interested, as long as they're enjoying, engaging in the program. They can leave at any time too, if it's something they decide they don't want to do. Really, we see this program as a community of artists who are kind of working together oftentimes in the same space. I do think that aspect of the program is pretty important. It is a very open and accepting space and I think that's kind of the key to, in my opinion, why some of the artwork is so good. I think that confidence that is built through being in a space where people feel very confident and accepted is really huge and really helps the artists who attend the PASC program build their careers and just do their best.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. There we go. Thank you so much, Anthony, for just being here today, talking a lot about what you guys do. And if you have any event details for the future that you want to pass along, I would be happy to do that for everybody here that was interested. If anybody is interested in getting additional information, you can reach out to me or reach out to Anthony. I'd be happy to pass along all that information for you. Again, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here and talking about everything you guys are doing. I think it's incredible. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely sign up for our newsletter. If you go online to our website, down at the bottom, there's an area where you can sign up for the newsletter to receive information about what's happening. We're pretty active users of Instagram as well, which is a great place to see what's going on, what's happening, and to follow us. Yeah, And we have a lot of events happening pretty much every month, as Kristen, who gets our newsletter, now knows. So thank you, everybody, for being here and for allowing me to speak about this program and to show what our artists are working on and what they do. I'm sorry that they left early. I wasn't expecting that, but again, things happen. Can't always control it, right? So we'll try to do that again sometime in the future. Maybe do some kind of an artist talk here. Oh, there's 3 more questions. Should we?
Oh, all right.
Yep, Anthony. Yep.
Okay.
Well, they're more so just thank yous and just audience members saying they really enjoyed the presentation and the information, and just thank you for presenting and talking so much about your organization, PASC.
Great. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. All right, everybody, thank you for attending, and we'll send out more information if you're interested. So have a great day, everybody.